I've been umming and ahhing for the past 24 hours about if I was going to do this, how I wanted to do this, should they even be done, But it's the I want to pay my respects to one of my favourite players from this Liverpool era, Diogo Jota, who was sadly yesterday on Thursday lost his life in the early hours of the morning in a road traffic accident in Spain. And it's something that you never expect as a football fan. You know, we idolise these people. We watch them every week, but because of their status, we almost see them as almost above us, almost immortal, almost beyond us. And you get moments like yesterday which bring everything back into perspective in a very brutal and very honest and very horrible way. Diogo Jota was 28. Diogo Jota's just 5 years older than me. He was 10 days after being married. The greatest moment of a person's life, arguably, that and when they see children get born. He just witnessed that 10 days beforehand with his children at his side. Everything was perfect for him, and to see it be taken away so cruelly is on a human level very heartbreaking. As I've watched Diogo Jota now. I watched him when he was at Wolves, but for Liverpool, I've watched every single game that man has played for this football club since he got here in 2020, the summer of 2020. He joined Liverpool Football Club, and I've watched every single one of them games, and I have had so much love for that man. As a footballer, he was so easy to love. He worked hard, he had so much talent, he was so humble, he could play a multitude of positions. He knew where the net was. His level of finishing was incredible. His aerial ability for a man of his size was ridiculous. He quickly grew into one of my favourite footballers at the football club, and he had his injury problems throughout his time here, but he never once wavered. He always came back. He always worked hard. He always gave you what you wanted. You can go back through the famous Jota moments, the hat-trick in his Champions League debut against Atalanta. That one, it got brushed under the carpet for a number of years, and yesterday I started seeing the clip through the rounds again. It's a brilliant hat-trick. We all know about the goal against Tottenham. We all know about, his final goal of his life, which sounds like such an incredibly horrible thing to say. The final goal of Diogo Jota's life, but it was a massive goal to win the derby 1-0, en route to winning number 20. On number 20, fired us to number 20. It's poetic in a way. There's so many wonderful moments of Jota as a footballer. My personal favourite, Manchester City at home in 2022. He didn't score. He didn't assist that day. In fact, it was probably a day he didn't remember very fondly, because it ultimately cost him a spot at the World Cup because of an injury he picked up that day. And life is cruel like that. That would have been the only World Cup Diogo would have played in. So if you look back at it now, it's probably not a great memory, but in that game, as a Liverpool fan, that man ran his socks off. He was everywhere. It was a brilliant workman performance. It was a performance from a player desperate to see Liverpool do well, and he would sacrifice his own game and his own standards to achieve that. And it was so Diogo. And look, death brings people together. Grief brings people together. And seeing the outpour of emotion from not just Liverpool fans and Wolves fans and Atletico fans and Portugal fans and Porto fans and Pacos de Ferreira fans, seeing the outpour of love from the general football community has been incredible. I've never believed in the notion of the whole rivalry aside, but when it's death, it's bigger than that. When it's death, especially in such a cruel way as Diogo's and his brother Andre as well. We cannot forget about Andre Silva, his brother, who also lost his life tragically in that accident. But when it's something as cruel as that, to see people come together. It transcends rivalries. It shouldn't be about, oh, I'm a Manchester United fan, but respect. No, it's just as a human being. I'm a human being. Rest in peace. I'm a human being sending love, and for all the good that there has been in the immediate wake of such tragic news. And before I carry on, I do want to say one more piece of utterly, or two more pieces of utterly heartwarming stuff. Heartwarming probably isn't the right word, but tear-jerking stuff. One is the reaction from all the players. Now, they know, us football fans, we watch Diogo Jota 40 times a season on our TVs or in the stadium. But we don't know Diogo Jota the person. We know Diogo Jota the footballer, and what an incredible footballer he was. One of the best that we had in this time period. But what we know about Diogo Jota as a man and as a person was limited. It was through interviews and through videos posted on social media, and that painted a nice picture. He was a humble lad. He was funny. He's very into his game, and he seems to be a joy to be around. But the tributes from the people who knew him as a man, who'd spent 5 years with him, I think those have been wonderful in shedding a light on for us onto Diogo Jota as a person. Diogo Jota, the family man, the man whom loved his childhood sweetheart more than anything. And as cruel as it was, and as cruel as it is, that Diogo Jota's passed away just 10 days after his marriage, the part of me is glad that they did get married. The part of me is glad that Diogo and his wife did get to experience the greatest day of their lives together before he was cruelly taken away. We got to know about Diogo Jota, the father, who loved his 3 kids with his whole being. They have to grow up now without a father, but his father will forever be immortalised at Anfield, in the city. His family needs to take as much time as they need. This is an unimaginable tragedy, but should they ever want to return to the city, I hope they know that Diogo, the father, the husband, will forever be immortalised by the people of the city who adored him. And I hope he knew how much we loved him before he went. And Arne Slot put out a wonderful, wonderful statement that there is no situation, that there's no way he could have been prepared for this. There's no training for this. There's no way as a human being, as a football manager, as a human being, you're sitting there in the job thinking, right, what do I do in this unimaginable situation? And Arne Slot has had to go through that as a manager and bear the weight of the football club at a certain point on him with his statements. And it was so beautifully crafted, so pertinent, so right. He nailed everything that needed to be said, and the way he ended it was perfect. We will remember Diogo the footballer when the time is right. We will remember what Diogo achieved for Liverpool Football Club when the time is right. What we achieved together. What the wonderful memories we've got of him. But in the immediate aftermath, we need to think of Diogo, the man, the father, the brother, the son, the husband. And we cannot let that go to waste, because as incredible a footballer as he was, he seemed to be an even better human. He seemed to be an even better man. And seeing the stories from Robertson, from Kelleher, from Henderson, who was there today to pay his respects, wonderfully done. And that's something I'll touch on in a minute, regarding the media coverage, which has been utterly abhorrent. Seeing all the messages from his teammates that allow us to get a glimpse of the man that he was, allow us to learn a little bit more about the family man and the man off the football pitch that Diogo Jota was, and help us understand that as good a footballer as he was an even better man, and he was a brilliant footballer. So to be an even better man, that's something truly special in the world. Lost two incredible souls yesterday. And my heart ultimately goes out most to his parents, because there is one thing that no parent should ever have to do, and that is bury their children. A parent should never have to bury their children. And his mother and father have lost both of theirs in one go. In one cruel twist of fate, one cruel moment on a highway in Spain where a tyre burst. Their life is ruined. Their life is broken because their children are gone, and they will have to bury their children. And that is that is a situation that no parent should ever have to go through, and it's a situation that is painful beyond words I can imagine. So my heart truly goes out to all the members of his family in this situation. We, as Liverpool fans, will remember Jota the footballer and the great moments that he gave us, the wonderful goals he scored, all 47 of them in the Premier League. We'll remember Diogo Jota for the work rate that he gave us, for the dance on the pitch, for his wonderful song that should be sung every single game from this moment and beyond. We'll remember Diogo Jota for being our lad from Portugal, our number 20. And I hope that his number is forever immortalised, because he's not leaving, he's not moving club, he's not transferring, he's not leaving at the end of his contract, he's not leaving Liverpool Football Club. He will never give up that number 20. So that number 20 should forever stay his. And we can remember Diogo for that, because that's the Diogo that we knew. Or, well, 99.999% of us Liverpool fans knew, and football fans in general knew. And I'm glad that his family can remember Diogo, the man who seemed to be an even better man than he was a footballer. And I hope that the football club does the right thing as well when it comes to his family. You know, I don't know how long he had left on his contract, but I hope that the football club ensures that his wages, what he would have received for this season and however long he had left, go to his family. It's the right thing to do. And now something that I didn't have to think I'd be speaking on, and I didn't want to, but it's been so abhorrent the way it's been dealt with in the past 24 hours that I'd feel remiss if I didn't. The media coverage around this horrible incident has been nothing short of absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. There is zero heart, there is zero respect, there is zero understanding from certain institutions, namely the Mail. Now, I want to preface this by saying that this is not all journalists of the Mail. I know which journalists they are. There are certain journalists who will get a lot of unnecessary and unwarranted stick because they are associated with Liverpool, when in reality they were doing the hard work trying to prevent the utterly abhorrent reporting that was going on yesterday. As I'm speaking to the Mail, and I'm speaking about the Mail here, the way you've handled the situation is nothing short of vile. Two men have lost their lives. Two wonderful souls have lost their lives. And you are going around photoing the crime scene, putting it in every single article you can, despite the fact it's triggering, despite the fact it is utterly disrespectful. And then, even worse, when his poor widow has to go to the mortuary to identify the bodies, you are there, camera in hand, snapping her at her most vulnerable, at her most grief-stricken moment, so you can put it in an article and make a quick fucking buck. It's utterly disgusting. And today, Jordan Henderson looked an absolute wreck. An absolute wreck. This was a man who captained Diogo Jota for 3 seasons. A man who seemed to be incredibly close to Diogo Jota as a person. He's going to pay respect. He's clearly wrecked by it. He's struggling. And there are about 25 fucking cameras behind him, filming him in one of the darkest moments of his life, trying to get the perfect angle for a photo that they can put in an article about fucking clickbait shit about Diogo Jota. It's utterly disgraceful. There is no compassion. There is no commiserations. There is just, how can we profit from another man's death? And it is utterly, utterly disgusting. And there have been people on other platforms who have done things that blow the mind in terms of how disrespectful and how uncompassionate you can be as a person. I saw two people on TikTok, on a TikTok live, sitting there, and I cannot believe I'm uttering this sentence, but it happened. He sat there on a TikTok live and said, "You know what would really put a smile on my face and help brighten a dark day? A gift." Now, for those of you that don't know, a gift on TikTok is someone paying you money. This man was sitting there asking for money on TikTok so he could feel happier about this dark day. Utterly disgusting. A man has lost his life. Where is your soul? Where is your compassion in this moment? This is not the time to see how I can make a quick buck. This is the time to pay respects to an incredible footballer, an incredible man. And the fact that some people seemingly cannot do that without trying to make it a financial gain for them is utterly disgusting. Disgusting. It still hasn't sunk in yet that next year Liverpool Football Club will be stepping onto that pitch and Diogo Jota won't be there. I won't be seeing him come on with 20 minutes to go with the score at 2-1, feeling as calm as I've ever felt, because Diogo Jota will always score to make it 3-1. The fact that he won't be there with his little grin when we start singing his song. The fact that he won't be there heading home, rising highest against centre-backs, putting Liverpool in front. The fact that he won't be there next year, leading us to victory, taking us to victory, cutting inside and scoring for LFC. It hasn't truly sunk in yet. I feel for the players who've lost a brother in arms. I feel for the fans who are, we've lost someone we've idolised for 5 years. And I feel most for his family who have suffered the most painful, most unimaginable loss of their lives. And I hope that both Diogo and his brother Andre find peace, because that's no less than they deserve. I'm gonna miss Diogo Jota. I really am, and I hope he finds peace.